Hello again everyone, I'm Daniel, the cross-cultural nerd, here with another video for you today. Once again, happy Black History Month 2023. Here talking about another Kentucky Black History figure for you here in my classroom, because I'm between classes right now. Once again, in this series, I'm highlighting Black figures either from Kentucky or who had much of their careers in Kentucky who may not be quite as well known outside of the area. Today, I'd like to talk about Dr. Mary E. Britton. Mary Britton lived all her life in Lexington and Berea, Kentucky, and was born in 1855 as a free person of color, meaning that even though slavery was legal at the time, she was not born into slavery. She was one of 7 siblings, and she would go on to outlive most of them. Her father was a carpenter turned barber of Spanish and Indian descent, and her mother was the daughter of the enslaved mistress to a prominent Kentucky statesman, and was well educated despite her slave status before being freed at the age of 16. Mary Britton was extremely well educated during her childhood, especially for Black people of the time. Her family moved to Berea, where her mother was hired as a matron, and her older sister, Julia Britton, became a student and would become the first African-American teacher at Berea College, which is the first Kentucky institution of higher education to admit Black people. Mary followed her sister Julia, and she and Julia became the first Black women ever to graduate from Berea College. Mary attended from 1871 to 1874, as well as teaching instrumental music as the first Black woman to teach white students at Berea College. Now, the year that Mary graduated, in 1874, right before graduation, her parents died in rapid succession. After she graduated, Mary went back to her hometown of Lexington and began a teaching career. She would also get a medical degree from American Missionary College in Chicago and study medicine further at Howard University in D.C. and at Meharry Medical College in Nashville. She became the first African-American woman in Lexington licensed to practice medicine in 1902, specializing in hydrotherapy and electrotherapy. As Jim Crow laws at the time severely limited the healthcare options for Black people, her private practice out of her home was often a literal lifesaver for the more than 20 years that she officially practiced. Mary Britton was highly active in community life as well. She was a suffragette. She was president of the Lexington Women's Improvement Club, an original member of the Kentucky Negro Education Association. She was one of the founders of the Ladies Orphan Home Society, and she was the founding director of the Colored Orphan Industrial Home. She also ran a day nursery for children whose mothers worked outside the home. She wrote extensively in multiple papers in favor of societal reformation and against segregation and the use of alcohol and tobacco, reaching many in Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and Maryland. The famed African-American poet Paul Laurence Dunbar dedicated a poem to her in his collection Oak and Ivy, simply titled To Miss Mary Britton. She also engaged in her own bit of civil disobedience. At the World's Columbian Exposition of 1893 in Chicago, she reacted to reports of limited Black involvement by traveling there herself and defying white supremacy and trying to get into the Kentucky exhibit. She experienced a lot of humiliation and indignity in how she was treated, but her treatment was widely publicized and helped raise awareness of how Blacks might be treated even at a major event in a northern city. Britton retired from medicine in 1923 and died 2 years later at the age of 70. The Bluegrass Medical Society published a tribute to her in the Lexington Leader newspaper, and she was buried in what is now Cove Haven Cemetery in Lexington. Today, Dr. Mary Britton is highly respected for her work in the medical field as well as for her work in civil rights in the state of Kentucky. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. I'll get back to you. Check out the link tree in the description and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, Co-host, and Hive. Once again, I'm Daniel, the cross-cultural nerd. Have a great day. Happy Black History Month. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.